line with it, Chris, before you got involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon listeners, it's me Suleiman Ben Suarez, coming on very early, just to have a brief conversation on the updates we have on this issue concerning the major economic crimes going on in the country. And if you just bear me a minute, let's share this video to the timelines and we can start the program. Okay, thank you very much. It's me, Suleiman Ben Suarez. Today is Monday, the 22nd of November, 2021. The time is just gone about 23 minutes past 2 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. It's going to be a brief update on the issue of the surrounding the Gampetroleum saga. And the other issue will be surrounding the hotel, 100 million hotel, that now we have seen our citizens been abused, arrested for no legal reasons, and to be malhandled, and unfortunately, it's involved a youth, it involved a woman, and it involved a political executive of a political party and all not. I think we should just reflect on these issues and reflect on the people involved, whoever it would have been. But again, if these people would be picked on, who else would not be picked on? We should always remember this fact. And why is the state so interested in pursuing a case that they have no merit to pursue? Because there's a rule of law in the Gambia, and which is applied regardless of who you are or what executive arm of government you belong. And we even expect more from those people given the responsibilities to safeguard those institutions, to do the right thing. Let's start from the update. And I want us to ask this question. Who is abusing his power? I know we can see the police, and rightly so we'll blame the police because they have a constitutional rights, they have a constitutional responsibility, they have a mandate, given to them by an act of parliament. They have a code of conduct that dictates their responsibility. Their responsibility is not to be dictated by the executive. Then we have to blame them for not doing the right thing. But we are not surprised. These are the same people that the dictator used in order to put us through what we went through. Why are we surprised? We shouldn't be surprised. Then we should take it more seriously than to know that we are in the path going towards a dictatorship. And if we allow other citizens' rights to be taken, other citizens' properties to be taken, this is going to be a template, and it's going to be enforced on others, especially at this time of elections. Now, who is abusing them is the executive. As I have explained, the executive is given so much power in that country, like many other countries are, to the extent that it's not good for our own. That's why when we went for the draft constitution, we decided that we need to reduce these powers because of it's been abused. The power of right to hire and fire women and all those rights have been abused, and we have just seen it being abused again. The police investigators would dare not tamper with a case such sensitive or importance if the operational commanders are not enabling that practice. The operational commanders would dare not defy court orders, would dare not decide to compromise investigations if the Inspector General of Police is not enabling the environment. The Inspector General of Police would dare not, defy court orders, would dare not be seen complicit in undermining investigations if the Interior Minister was not complicit by encouraging the environment. And we all know that Interior Minister, who he is, but not only that, who appoints him and why he was appointed, because he will do this sort of job. He have done it for the dictator. Why are we surprised? Now again, who is to be blamed here? Absolutely all of these people needed to be blamed, but ultimately the President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Barrow, should be the person to be blamed. He have vested interest in this, and the vested interest is selfish, it's corruption, and that's why he accumulated that much wealth within the short period. I think this is enough message for any Gambian, conscious Gambian, to decide that we are not going on the right path, and this president needed to be removed, and this, the contract exchange. Now, we have established that bit. He's the one abusing the power, and all these people are asked to be held accountable on this power. What does these two cases have in common? What does two cases have in common? Gampetroleum, petrol business, large amount of money, millions and millions of dollars, and the backbone of our economy, the energy sector. Another case, property right of a citizen, property right of an organization, a foreign enterprise, investor, a property integral in our development, healthcare, and a group of people, so-called investors from Senegal, complicit with politicians, to be in a deal that it's not even viable. It's bogus scam, and we are going to prove that. What else do they have in common? The president interested in both cases, and the president is interested in one thing, is to create wealth for himself and the people around him. Then the accumulation of wealth again for the president has been proven to be from these illicit transactions. And if we see the people that enabled this are appointed by the president in the position of minister cabinet, the line ministries that oversee these agencies or these departments that are to, deliver for our progress are serving for their interests, individual interests, and in the individual interests of the president and his family. This is one thing, again, they have in common. And if we say, where is the conflict of interest? We will see the conflict of interest in what? In disregard of the laws of the Gambia. In disregard of the rule of law of the Gambia. In seeing institutions behave in a way and manner that they would only dare do or have the audacity to do because of they have an enabling environment or they have a superior, and there's no other person who is superior in that country as a leader than the President of the Republic. This is another point to note, that the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, have abused his power and disregard the interests of the Gambian people, but to pursue foreign interests, to pursue individual interests. That's why he enabled an environment where the country will be raped and continue to be raped, and Gambian people to be raped and to be abused. And the complete failure of that country squarely would be put under, before the president, because he is given those executive powers I mentioned here that needed to be curtailed in order to ensure whoever comes into power or into, be a president would not abuse his rights, because of there will be right mechanisms to control that. And he has shown his interest, and only interest is to abuse the citizens and to get whatever these things, and in disregard of where the country will be leading to. Another 5 years of Barrow will be Gambia no more. This is is put clear clear out there. Now let's look at a brief on the Gampetroleum. Gambia wake up to a situation that we found ourselves that there's no petrol in the country. Started with diesel, which is of more in circulation because of the industries and the industries for that matter, be transportation, be factories, be anything else, big vehicles and machineries and others are operating with diesel. And obviously after diesel, what follows would be the petrol. And this thing happened, we run out of it. Then the whole country technically coming to a halt, but the absence of what? The outrage. The outrage we expect from citizens, the outrage we expect from organizations, the outrage we expect from the press. Because of what? People involved are so powerful. And again, who created that environment, who nurtured that environment is the executive itself, the President of the Republic, because they are all linked. The tentacles of the corruption and anything that's rotten in the country is linked to State House. How? Again, based on evidence. This president came into power. One of the first things he did was to create a permanent secretary for investment. You know, the dictator disregards laws. And he even disregards, he doesn't even bother to structure his corruption. Everybody knows that Amadou Samba was this. Whoever else was associated, or whoever even have the audacity to use the name of the president, that's a seal of approval. You can turn up to central bank and just say that the president sent me to collect this, and it will be given to you without questions. We have seen that in evidence. We have seen where people walk into a police station and say that I am representing the president and we want to go and arrest this person, and the person is arrested. We have seen these things. But in this case, what Barrow did is even to structure it by appointing a permanent secretary for investment. Disregarding that we have a minister of trade, disregarding we have an agency specially mandated to look after our investment into the country, which is the GIPA. Why did he do that? so that he can have control over the economy, the private sector, so that he can be rich and wealthy, because he was already schooled that you have to do this in order to benefit. Then another evidence that the president of the republic has structured this corruption and he controlled the entirety of what is operating. We all accept, in every country we have interest groups. We call them mafia, we call them whatever it is. And these interest groups have many things in common. And most of the cases, they deal with each other based on, be it tribe, be it region, be it the family, be it whatever it is. And one thing bound them together is the common interest of to loot our resources. It's not about their tribe. It's not about their family. It's not about their region. What's the proof of this? They never benefit even their extended family. Go and look at the poverty in the extended family of these people. And logically, sensibly, consciously, you cannot expect to loot the resources of a country and enable your entire family. Because of that resources that's supposed to go into hospitals, supposed to go to create jobs, that's supposed to go to educate the people and everything else. If those institutions are deprived, the country shall not know peace. And the country doesn't know peace, nobody is safe. But their greed would not let them think like that. That's why we should not be misguided or fooled to think that this is about tribe or is about this family, just personal family interest. Yes, it might be their wife, their concubines, or their husbands, and what is sidekicks, or whatever you call them, and their children. This is what they look after, not their extended family. Some of these people don't even care about their own mothers. That's this disregard they have. More or less to talk about their entire tribe, more or less to talk about their entire region. They will rape their entire region if they can. And they will plunge the country into crisis and thinking that they can elope and run. That's what they would think. We have seen this story in Africa all the time. They're not even content now in sending their school children in private school in the country, but even primary school now, they take their children out of the country because they know that it's about to erupt. This is their thinking. They've seen the crime rate in the country. It's not safe no more for their children, but they disregard the rest. That's why I said it's not about their families. They take them to international schools. They buy properties international. In the European Union or other countries. When the afraid Gambians is having to accept the poor conditions of our schools. In hospitals, it's the same thing. They go abroad for hospitals. Anything else, they go abroad. They have the money for the services, and it's our own money. But the control we have, and that control is to elect a government that can bring about that change. Now, these people, that's what they are. They are not for family. They are not for tribe. They are not for their region. It's selfish. And this is the same thing President Barrow subscribed to. That's why within 5 years, he's a multi-millionaire in all terms. What interest does he have? Why would any genuine Gambian, why any Gambian would tell you that this president is to be voted for? What any Gambian that says they're either ignorant or corrupt as him and is just, running after the president for those, things that he can get from the president. Now the Gampetroleum saga becomes interest groups. The police, it's not that they lack the capacity to investigate this matter, they have the capacity. What's stopping them? It's not difficult to investigate. We're sitting thousands of miles away from there with little information. We were able to deduct and come up with a plausible, logical explanation which became fact, which they presented in their press release. But because of there's a vested interest, and the vested interest is the president. If the president wanted things to be resolved, things would have been resolved. But no, things cannot be resolved, because to resolve things, you have to take the root of what? Rule of law. People to be held accountable, investigation to be done competently, whoever is found wanting to be dealt with. But no, They disregard that. Now what they do is masla and Barrow and try to negotiate how to, kill off or cover up the entire transaction. Because if we follow the rule of law, then it will lead us to the president, because of most of the actors are acting on behalf of the president, and the president is benefiting, his wife is benefiting, his nephews are benefiting, and his entourage are benefiting, and his political party is benefiting directly from the enterprise. Then the whole web of corruption in the petroleum saga, it's down to the president again. We move on. The situation is here. All the parties involved and the other interest groups, there are parties involved, and there's other interest group which is part of it, and part of, in fact, the conspiracy to trigger, for things to happen, just to replace. You see, that's why I said any government that comes in, if they are not all accountable, this thing will continue, because they are so powerful in that country right now. Just to create the situation for them to replace the present system. What I mean is to replace the individuals in the position to enable for them to benefit. And all these interest groups are what supporting, sponsoring the president. They're advocating for the president. The likes of Mohammed QTV, Mohammed Jah and his cabal. We all seen how much they're doing. Now they have their own candidate, Yusufa Job, from Pura, to do the dirty jobs, to trigger and uncover certain things. Not the entirety. Not the entirety facts. But they want to screw it in a way just to move things around, so that they'll be in position and benefit from the network of what is happening. That's what we have to deal with. Bringing Yusufa Job in that position, in fact, just exposed what this government is. As I said, from the line ministry, from Mambure Jai and others, that's where it starts from, that's where the president starts from, and goes down to department agencies and everything else that entangles the operations of the economy of the country. And once they control the economy, they use the proceeds to do what? To entrench a government, just as they use their proceeds to entrench the dictatorship. Go and look at the economic actors in the dictatorship. It's the same individuals, same people. Ababakar, Jawars and others used to come from wherever they used to be to campaign in their regions. That's why the dictator have been winning in those regions, because of the ignorance of the people. They've been taking the words of Ababakar and others to support the dictator based on tribal alliances and the tribal marginalizations of other tribes and the opposition, for that matter, just for their vested interests. They don't believe in that. They are doing it for their selfish interests. Now, this happened. Now they're negotiating things. What we have, and knows for a fact, the general manager of Gampetroleum, that we all have suspicion, reasonable, rational, to believe that he have played a role. He is claiming his innocence. It's an irony. What we should ask, why the government not take him on? Why the government not take him on? He is claiming his innocence and asking for what? An audit. A proper audit. What we had, as I said again, we are taking what we can hear, what is logical. Now it's for the government to come and define. And if the government is refusing, the police have not told us anything from their investigations. We have a smoke screen of what, what do you call them? Task force. And they puff out the smoke and thinking that it is finished. That they can cover up and the rest. We refuse to. That smoke have evaporated now. People can see clearly for what they did. Why did not the police come and tell us? Still, they haven't told us anything. And they continue to even to hold citizens in custody for over 72 hours, for almost a week, without coming out with a statement. It's not compromising. But the managing director is asking for an audit. Let them take him on it. That's what Gambians asked for. That's what we were asking for. To audit the profit made since he took over to date. To audit all the people acting or active in the oil marketing business operations, the OMCs, to audit them and to audit the stocks. He is asking for a comprehensive auditing, and we ask for comprehensive auditing. Why is the government not doing it? Who are they protecting? Now the person accused as being the gatekeeper is saying that, look, I want to be be audited properly, but we have to do it comprehensively in order to find the facts. Why is it not happening? Again, take us where the president, because if the facts are come out, the president would not spend a night in State House. Gambian would be astonished to what have transpired. As we said, even our allegations are not outreach. They are logical. We hold back a lot. We filter a lot because we don't want to be in the game of just speculating for speculation's sake. But there are a lot of allegations out there. Names been called. But we just based on our interactions and whatever they can do on possibilities, on logical and on evidence that we can collaborate from what is out there. Now we are asking the president, and we're expecting opposition parties to ask the president. We expect the president to ask the president to make sure these cases are investigated. We're asking all the agencies to come out and speak about this. How many so-called press houses do we have in the Gambia? What's the point? Oh, we are now free. We have so many press. What's the point of them? How many CSOs we have on transparency and accountability and whatever it is? They are easy to run to the courts for anything else. But the biggest corruption in town and the abuse of human rights and everything, they don't want to know. Would you tell you how powerful these interest groups are? How many people do they take care of? Their tentacles, how many people they compromise? That's the fact of this. That's the fact of this. Now, the president is refusing to do the right thing. Now, where are we going with this? Did the tax force come back to update you? Did they come back to update you on the developments? The Gambia have been, name of the Gambia has been tarnished by this, because, the international knows about all this going on. They know. It would not be reported in the Gambia, but they will get the information required because they are dealing with stakeholders that are taking part in this. They're trying to cover up because we allow it to be covered up. The institution allow it to cover up. Parliament is in absence here. The press is in absence here. Opposition is in absence here. Yes, we can hear in some quarters it's been used as a campaign material, but we want the platform, the right platform to agitate this, to ask the questions. Parliament and other means of press conference with the entire press and force the press hands to populists. Your inquiries. But it's not happening due to the president complicit in this. And we are going to go into a little bit more detail on that. Let's talk about a brief on the case going on with Nene Freda Gomez and Mr. C, an employee of the company. I keep on forgetting the name of the company. in charge of owners of the land, the premises occupied by government right now, and that's trying to be forcefully taken over. You know, as I said, exactly the same thing happened with the dictatorship. You know, and I remember when some of us used to say that Barrow is bad as the dictator, and people said we have been we have been unjust, we have been unreasonable or unfair to President Barrow. But you see, because one thing we tend to do as Gambians, we fail to critically look at issues, and we want to take things as face value until we get slapped, then we see it coming. No, I refuse to subscribe to that. And I give a simple example to Gambians here. Ask yourself, if President Barrow came through the barrel of the gun, in 4 years, what sort of president would we have now? If he had gone to the army, overthrow the government with his, whatever forces behind him, and take over the absolutely country, managed to entrench himself by suspending the constitution, arresting whoever he perceived to be threat, and in prison, and have intellectuals to come around him to draft laws that would make him operate as a dictator. What sort of president would we have? And the same thing, ask yourself, if President Jammeh was a civilian and gone through elections and managed to win an election, what sort of president would he be in 4 years? This is the kind of president you will have, what we have now. You see, you change their positions. The intentions in both of them are the same. They have the same intentions. The circumstance they came to power was different. Barrow have proven this. And someone have done something very smart, intelligent, by putting the properties of Barrow and Jammeh to show how much Barrow accumulated. And these are just properties identified within the Gambia, not just properties in Senegal, properties in America and other places. And these are not even monetary that he accumulated in other places, and not even all the properties in the Gambia. As I said, I have not heard the property in Bakau been declared at the IEC, and I have not had the twin properties in Tanje be declared. I have not had the property bought from the former Minister of External Affairs, Mr. Omarsi, in Fajara, declared by the President. It was bought to the First Lady's auntie. We all know that the money came from the President. That's what's the money for the $35 million from the FFB. We know that. Go and check the timeline of that money being received in the accounts, and who was part of that. The auntie was part of the FFB board, and who bought it. It's just easy. And months before that, they bought a property of almost $400,000 in America, in Seattle. That's where the son ended up living, before he came back to the Gambia. All these things, no part of it. Just shows you one thing: the greed. And next is when you commit all this crime, what do you want? You want to entrench yourself, because of you are no more a free person. You know that once you leave office, you'll be prosecuted. These are the same things. You commit a crime, try to cover it up, and it becomes a bigger crime, and you're scared to leave office, and you become a dictator. This is what made dictators, just like what is happening to Macky Sall. Because of the theft. Then the theft forced him to commit human rights abuses. Now Barrow is the theft. The theft is forcing him to commit human rights abuses. You think when an inquiry is launched into the arrest of Nene Freda Gomez, that Barrow would not be pointed at? The police turning around to say that the orders are coming from up. It's the same thing they used to tell us during the Keba. Nakebalim from up. It's not the Inspector General of Police, it's not the Interior Minister, who is mysterious, very quiet now. He's been exposed in the TRRC. Does it mean that he's not complying? He's complying. None of them will resign because of things have not been done right. None of them will resign. They will continue to serve. Now, this is the same person we have here. We have a dictator in making. Whether you want to accept it or not, that's your problem. But any intelligent being can see through that he's a dictator in making, and you approve him. In another contract of 5 years, nobody to be blamed but us. But us, I mean people who are complicit. Our footprints are all out there to be seen. But look at the issue here. An organization came during the dictatorship, went through all the regulations, rules and laws of the Gambia to obtain a property, paid anything that meant to be paid. One. You see, in law, this is called grounded. It's grounded. The property is grounded, clearly. And if you think this is the only property the government is going for, you'll be mistaken. I raised an issue because there's so many coming in. I raised an issue about a property that the former president forcibly purchased from a family that built a property of almost $15 million is for investment because they are expatriates, so for their future retirement. That property, the president the dictator, Jammeh, rented the property for the second wife, Amina Salah, and Amina Salah lived in that property. Within a year or so, the dictator sent his business manager, Amadou Samba, to invite the representatives of the owner of the property, living in Gambia, to go and meet them in their office, in his office. And he went to this office, and he put a proposal that the dictator want to buy the property. And this guy said, look, the people owning the property are not selling. From that pull and push, this person was arrested, taken to the NIA, for about 4 days, been tortured and maltreated, like hold to hostage, ransom. Just as we say now, the torture is not happening now, because it's kind of a new. As we go on, tortures will happen. But being detained, being humiliated, and everything else, it's like torture. It's a torture. I mean, you know how women feel about their bodies, not having the freedom to be within the environment they choose to be and to take care of themselves. That's torture. You know, a young man, how they love. I mean, people love their freedom. A young man, freedom being taken away from him. These are all torture. It's not lawful. But the thing here is, the owners have to be forced due to their relative who was looking after their property to sell. The dictator proposed the price, undervaluing the price of the property. And the evidence, I have shared the evidence on social media. The evidence that the people that built the house own the property, their valuation from the bank that they got the money from, it's an investment. The bank have to accept the valuation, and the valuation was about 15, but they in fact use another independent valuator to value. The bank valued it, they use an independent valuator, they come into agreement with the bank. It was valued 15 million. I forgot the amount the dictator proposed, but it was far less than what is, and bought it from it. When this government came, it went through the Janneh Commission. The property went through the Janneh Commission. This family wrote a statement with all the supporting documents explaining that they never wanted to sell this property. They are ready, and you know, the dictator still owe them rent. And when this government came, the government too owned them rent. And said, look, we are not happy. We were not happy about this. It was an abuse of our rights, our property rights. We are ready to settle with government, to give back government what been paid to us, even with interest, back so that we can get our property. Mysteriously, with the Janneh Commission statements, they said that these people accepted that they willfully sold the property, which was a lie. Because I saw their statement to the Janneh Commission. They explained everything that went on. It cannot be a misrepresentation of anything. because they explain the torture that their relative went through. How can you willfully sell something when you go through under duress by going through torture with the NIA? We all know what happened at the NIA. Now Musa Drame, this property now is occupied by the Financial Intelligence Agency, and the property's been ruined now. And Musa Drame is interested in buying that property. When they were selling the properties, they refused. You see, they took some of these properties and did not put it on the sale list. They reserved it for themselves. The same thing. Why I'm not deviating, just to tell you there are more properties under these people that they want to take on, and this is the background of this property here. The company that came from wherever they came from, they followed the Gambian laws under the dictator and got everything, the lease and everything in the property, and they started their business. And I know people deliberately. People who support the government are coming with this. No, you know, this company, when they came, what they say they're going to do, they did not do that because of, they just want to use it for this. That's a lie. That's a propaganda from the government. One, a company have a business plan. If the company says that they're going to build a hospital, have you seen their business plan? They might start with a clinic to develop that clinic to a hospital. Probably it's a 10-year, 20-year-old development plan. Tough said that he's going to build Tough City. But Tough said this, the city would be in 10 to 20 years time, depends on the interest of people. I'm going to start with 1, then 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Strategically, I'm going to put it this way. Tough explain everything, how everything is going to come together to be a city. Tough is not going to say, I'm going to build a city, I have the money. No, nobody will even give you the money. It doesn't work like that. You have a development plan. 1, 2. Even though if the government suspect that these people have failed, there's a rule of law. If government is interested in that property, there's a rule of law. If the government have a need for the property, for the public interest, there's a law. The government does not have the power to just go out and confiscate properties. No, there's a law. The government did not follow that law. But this company came back when the dictator left, and they have hope and that the justice would be served. And justice was served. They went, and the same government asked these people to pay the rates for the property. The company complied. You see, another technique in law, if you partake in a contract, by servicing the contract, you are bound by the contract. By government asking them to pay arrears on the property, government have partaken in the contract to acknowledge that you own the property. If you didn't own the property, why did government ask them to partake? The company is standing on a grounding, on this property. That shouldn't be a question. Let the propaganda stop. We are not here to be fooled. Another thing is, that wasn't enough. This government took the property, because the dictator took the property, give it to the junglers. This government kept the police serious crime in there. They went through the courts. The company went through the courts to determine their rights to the property, and the courts gave them the rights to the property. Now, this government turned around to give us, turn around and just announce. And when the court gave them the rights, the company wrote to all the stakeholders, the police and others, and they even came to an agreement due to the services being given by the anti-crime. They were patient to give them time to relocate, because they just don't want to come and say that you have to relocate. No, they gave them time because of the services the police were given to the people to relocate. They were patient with this process. Now, it went on The motion, all those motions, they wrote to all stakeholders that we are ready to, take up our decision and continue our development plan. And remember again, when the dictator came and took the property from them, he took all the equipments value, according to the company, value of $5 million. All the hospital, these things. It was fully equipped clinic. The government should have compensated on that. Yes, it's the dictator that did it, but anything done on the name of the Gambia should be compensated by the Gambia. But not only that, now this government turned around to present us what? To say that they are going to build a 100 million hotel. By who? A Senegalese guy. Who's the Senegalese guy? Let's go to that. We'll come back. This Mr. Njai, or you call Mr. Cham, you call him, always claimed to be a Gambian parentage. There's no problem with that. You see, as I said this, I have no problem with any foreign investment. No. But what I have problem is done in the right manner, within the laws of the Gambia, and to benefit to have a mutual benefit. Yeah, the investor should expect returns, but Gambia should expect a good investment, regardless who he is. But I prefer a Gambian. I prefer a Senegalese. I prefer a Guinean. I prefer a Guinea-Bissau. I prefer an African. In the order. If they have what it takes, competence and everything to invest, I prefer them to invest than the outside. But again, in that order, I can tell you why would I prefer a Western than a Chinese. I can tell you that. Simply, if a Western company does something in the Gambia, you can come back to their own parent country and take them to the courts. If a Chinese does something in the Gambia, you are toasted. Now we have seen the BP and others, the Ogoni, people from the Ogoni lands in Nigeria, people from other districts are coming to the courts in the United Kingdom to take them to the courts and to get reparation. But these are the issues why we prefer for our national interest. It's not because of we hate foreigners, we hate Chinese, we hate Indians, no. It's because we love ourselves more than anybody else, and there's no crime. That's the way it should be. Look after your number one. Number one then can look after, anything else. But in this case, the guy is a dodgy guy. It's a scam. Who said this? Evidence. Go and Google it. Go and Google his name in evidence. In Senegal. He's a hustler. He's no big guy. He have never run a big company. What he does, just like Abubakar Jawara, he's a patron to Macky Sall. And he will support Macky Sall with anything that Macky Sall does to be entrenched. Because of them, they will benefit. Even in Senegal, they are not good citizens. They're not doing the right thing for Senegal. You think they're going to do it for us? Evidence, go and look at it. He was given a contract by Macky Sall government to provide services and goods to the government. The National Audit Department cut him out. Nothing came out of it. And come on, nothing came out of it. For corruption, not delivering, falsifying documents and everything else. The same Senegalese guy, known of giving Macky Sall 2 vehicles. And one of the vehicles, 2 of the vehicles even caught fire. One in Chess, I think, the other in Dakar itself, by the presidential palace. And Adama Barrow too was given 2 vehicles and other gifts. It was never declared to Gambians. You see the interest? But probably other things under behind the scenes. Another problem is the guy have never run a company value to anything. This so-called company to invest or to run this hotel does not even have $20,000 in their accounts. It's a new company, built, everything was prepared for Gambia to scam us. But it's Gambia, we are easy to scam. The government is easy to scam. They are so cheap. He comes in here. Now, government again failed to do the basics. Get a grounding on the property. Give them a land that they can use even if you want to go through there. No. They just want to disregard because of who they are. Who are the people around them that you can disregard these people. You don't have to go to the courts. You don't have to get a grounding for the properties. Some of the properties taken from confiscated from Yaya Jammeh. Now there are problems with it, with people that bought them, because of the government never sought out grounding, because that incompetent Justice Minister Tambedu, and corrupt for that matter, he was part of these problems. Those properties never had a guard, and now the people that bought the properties are in limbo, because those properties, some of them were not even owned by President Jammeh, because there are other people claiming on those properties. You have to make sure before you do the due diligence, before, that's why people go through lawyers to buy a property. Make sure everything is clear. It's free from any contest or any distance, and before you buy the property. But government failed to do that because of the Janneh Commission have just making a recommendation. You took it and said that it's my property, now I can sell it. It was wrong. The executive, the Janneh Commission was representing the executive, and executive cannot be the judge, the juror, and the executor. The Justice Department is still active and should be the last resort to determine the course of the law. Then it will be enforced. It was wrong. Now they did the same thing with this property. They disregard, not due to incompetency, it's arrogance and greed and being cheap. They got bought and they took the bribes. Just to realize that actually we don't have powers onto this. We don't have look, I'm not even talking about investment yet. If they have done their due diligence, it's just fixed. It's just a scam. The guy should have been not in so-called the president or government or investment. He's a criminal. Due diligence would have told him, but no, he's a friend of Macky Sall. He may give me vehicles. He does bring me abayas for my wife and bring me haftan for myself. That's what they do. And he do recommend me to marabouts. Yes, these are the same people that recommend them to spiritual this, and most of these marabouts are just part of the cabal. It's not because of they have anything closer to Allah or they can pray, no. Because they are connected. It's a mafia. They're connected to their Talibans are in, but that's all they do. It's just like the mafia, the Don and the connections. It's nothing to do with prayers or Allah. Their countries would not have been the way they are if they were those close to Allah. Or their families would not be who they are now. We all know what's going on in that country or countries. But again, this proven the government what they are. They now want to force and disregard the most important part of the country, the people, our rights, the sovereign. We are the country. Gambia is nothing without us. We are the people that put them there. We are the sovereign. It's not the territory, the land, it's the people. That's why we call it Gambia. But they will disregard our, they'll pick on us and do whatever they want to serve a corrupt decision. What they're serving is not to our interest. If they could have determined that, they would just go to the court, determine it, and no Gambians will have a problem. The government want to build a road here. My house is on the road, but it's for the public interest. The government just need to compensate me to move, because the most important thing is the public. But that's not the case. That's why they have a problem. The justice system have worked. They arrest these people, they trespass. They are the trespassers, government. When the anti-crime vacated the property, these people went to gain their access to their property. Even the court sent a sheriff of, executor and a sheriff division staff to come and make sure the police are served to vacate. They disregard. These people were manhandled, their properties were spoiled, the cement and other things, and they were taken, arrested for trespassing, again, infringement of their rights, and taken to court. Guess what? The court, High Court came back again and said that the police were wrong. Now, not only that, compensated the company and the lady, Nene, Freda, and Mr. C. Now, these citizens have complied with the law, followed the rule of law, but this government, it disregards the law. and decided now this should be concluded. Now we can go back and take our property. Gambia, just look at it. If any of your parents, any of your family, your brothers, your sisters, any of your neighbors been taken out and thrown out because government just feel like it. That's what they do, feel like it. It's not based on law, it's not based on our interest. No. Now, they went out there, guess what? They arrested again. The same police. Not that they don't know. That's why I said the police are doing this deliberately, because someone is making them to do it. And the only person logically, I explained before, it's not the police on the ground, it's not the operational commander, it's not the IGP, it's not the interior minister, it's the president. Because of the vested interest, they have eaten the money. They've taken bribes. They will disregard the law, they will disregard Gambians. But Gambia is your power now to tell him that the contract is terminated because of you failed. In some countries, I'll tell you, they will not. You see, if the government knew that people would have come out and just give them, they would have stepped back. I'll give you an example. In Sudan, right now, the army is trying to backtrack. But soldiers, they don't backtrack completely. They drop to positions in order to see whether they can flank, maneuver, and to regain position again. The army manipulated the people. Social media, that's why people say social media, you don't know what intelligence is. They manipulated the people because of the freedoms they have and everything. The army manipulated the people by running social media handles that came out as supporting the civilians, the professional, the people, agitating the government. That was the interim government. In order, they're doing that and agitated so that they can justify overthrowing the government. The people fell for it, and the pressure and started coming out, they disgruntled and everything else. And during that confusion, the secretary, it happens and they overthrew. Now the people then realized that we were set up to overthrow our own government. Now they came out again, now they protest. Now the army have tried everything. Now they're trying to say that, okay, now we'll bring back the president, the prime minister, we do this. But the people are saying, no. We are just asking that we cannot trust you, the soldiers, get out of the way. They're holding on to that. The army is negotiating this thing. They try to push and everything, the people sound. You see, that's why in certain countries, things don't happen. And Sudan is coming from an entrenched dictatorship. They're trying, pushing to make sure they get out of this. It's not going to be easy. Lives are lost and everything. I'm not talking about Gambia. We don't even have to go to that far. The government does not have those powers. Gambia is a special case. That's why the impasse ended the way it is. It's not credit to any single person. It's a credit to Gambians, who they are. They can create their mess. They can get out of their mess when they want to. That Gambian we're asking for to make sure this election to get yourself out of the mess. And I said, whoever you vote for, if you don't hold them accountable, if you're not vigilant, I'll tell you this interest groups will take them over again. We'll go back to square one. Then make your choice right and prepare to defend that choice. But again, they disregard all these things because they know that they can get away with it. Now, a woman is a victim, a youth is a victim, an executive member of a political party is a victim, a citizen is a victim, a property's rights of our companies have been abused, and we want to look the other way around? No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. The ultimate person to hold accountable is President Barrow. And finally, as I said, it's not going to be long. It's long already. It's taking an hour. Let me just share. Just a minute. Let me just share a little bit of thought on something I've posted this morning, just to give you exactly what all this is all about. Gambians would see that I finally shared, it's on my timeline anyway, the appointment letter for Ababakar Jawara to be a consul general for the Gambia in China. And this letter was given to him. Appointment was the 23rd of August 2017. Up to 23rd August 2017, Ababakar was known. I've talked about his background. He's not a rich person. He's never been a rich person. And this is the proof. And let me just read from what my post. Please see the proof that Ababakar Jawo was broke by the time this government came to power. I've explained that he was broke. But now this letter is an evidence to that. In 2017, he was already hustling in China. He has abandoned Africa. We all know that that Africans or foreigners don't own lucrative business in China. Whatever he was doing in Angola and everywhere else in Africa did not work out. All the thing he's talking about in this interview was a PR nonsense. He went to China. In China, you will not find a businessman that's an African, that's a foreigner to say this. Yes, companies do come through certain things to, tech companies and other things, in big investment to list themselves in the stock market exchange or to work with Chinese companies to produce the iPhones and other things and other things. But for African hustler to go and own a company, I go and Google that. I've seen African restaurants being run by Chinese nationals because that's the law, what the law says, and everything, the cooking of the eba and everything else, the jollof rice and everything is done by Africans to cater for Africans. Even that is not allowed for us. And these are the reasons I said I'd rather have a Western company invest in the Gambia than Chinese. Because I know the possibilities that Africans have in the European Union or in America. These are all kind of examples. But this guy, to prove of this is, he was hustling. And what was he doing, Fred, involved in? And those are one of the things, most lucrative things they do. Be hustlers, dealing, trying, you want to import, export something. And now even that, people are doing it without even involving anybody else in China. Because there's companies doing it. And those companies are not Gambians. Just shows you how broke he was. But he had to lobby to get this appointment, because once he gets this appointment, he is a diplomat. And once he's a diplomat now, he can try and find investors. Not for the Gambia, for himself. And this is how he came about finding an investor for the sand mining. Yes. I continue. In August 2017, Jawara lobbied to become the Consul General representing the Gambia to give himself the privilege to lobby for business partners. Please see the letter of appointment below. He abandoned the appointment that required him to be resident in China to set up GATCH and take over our sand mining contract. GATCH is a company that President Barrow is a silent partner. He's getting regular payments from the Jawara. Yes. He set up this company, and this is the reason he got the contract. Got the contract. Barrow, this is the way they make money. Jammeh used to do the same thing. Took over the company from the Australians and give it to Tony Gatta, the Lebanese guy, Tony Gatta something. And technically, it was Jammeh's company. Barrow is doing the same thing. Get to bring the people to do the job and listen. And I have my silence partnership. And I get this because he have to be a silence partner. Because he's not powerful yet to get to a level that he can just front it. Just like the Kanilai everything. Kanilai minerals, Kanilai everything. And he's going to go there. He's in the track to go there. And if we elect him again, he'll be there. He continued that. Thank you. He continued. The financial income from GATCH is part of the huge wealth he have accumulated within his first term in office. Both GATCH sand mining and GATCH GNPC deals are brokered by President Barrow influence. And if you look at it, that's how it works. Now GATCH is the vehicle that President Barrow will use as a cover company, and Ababakar would be. That's why the case of Gampetroleum would not go nowhere, because it would be traced back. Ababakar was found wanting. Ababakar should be charged for money laundering. Ababakar should be charged for theft. Ababakar should be charged for economic crime, corruption. You can go for Ababakar should be charged for holding stolen goods. 4 or 5 charges from the investigation. But it will not happen. But it will lead to who? Barrow. It did not happen. Now, this is why don't be surprised. How did Barrow get all this wealth, all these vehicles, all everything, the buildings and everything, and some other things you don't know? It's from this kind of deals. It's very lucrative. And others, you know, and these deals, if you look at it totally by the money laundering, it involves cocaine trafficking. That's why we are a destination of cocaine trafficking. Another time we did that before. We elaborate to show you how these things interlink. And go and look at the participants in all these deals. You can see, but it will never be investigated right, because it will lead to one person and lead to President Barrow. I continue to say, the other source of income from GATCH is GATCH and GRA tax scam. This was the reason the Director General of GRA failed to attend the press conference, and the ministers attending misinformed the press on the issues surrounding income tax in the Gampetroleum saga. Another scam is the tax. GATCH, whatever you call them. Link with slash and then GNPC. We all know GNPC is a standalone company. It was operational in the time of Yahya Jammeh. Yahya Jammeh, GNPC is the only entity that he have created as as a parastatal. All the other parastatals are created from the Jawara government. And you name it. Don't talk about GRTS, it's Radio Gambia. Don't talk about, let me just get this possible. It was created by GRTS. You talk about the Gampetroleum itself. Go and look at the history of the Gampetroleum. This is how it came about. Now, why have GATCH stroke? Because GATCH doesn't have what it takes. Doesn't have the intellectual, doesn't have the capacity, doesn't have anything else to do with petroleum. But it's the only way they can find themselves in. Barrow can find himself in, and have a cover, rather than going to take things from the GNPC. It's kind of difficult. Now, to do this cover, Yahya Jammeh would just have gone to GNPC and take it. But no, he gone through this way, took GATCH, their company, and link it with the GNPC in order to get to participate in the oil marketing business. And this is the corruption. Again, let's come to the tax. We all had, when they propose, you see, these people, they don't think far. When they're building their strategy, they don't get to the end of everything and conclude before they come and speak to us. They just react. And they reacted, and they were doing the right thing. They involved the managing director or director general of GRA in the group of the task force that was meant to speak to us or the press, which was the right thing to do, because they know the tax implications in this business, in this saga. But the last minute, the GRA guy was dropped, because they don't want Gambians to be alert. You see, they think we are stupid to be alert to look into the tax affairs. We already have asked about the tax affairs. He did not turn up. When the question of tax was asked, they tell him, oh yeah, because it's a bonded warehouse, tax doesn't come into play. Yeah, it's a bonded warehouse once it's bonded. But once it's released to go to markets, tax is involved. How does the tax work? There is a customs officer at the gate to ensure that a drop of petrol that leaves the bonded warehouse is accounted for tax purposes. Again, that's where I'm saying this. The president's GRA another source of scam, and it's not only petroleum, but any business that got it in, they are defrauding the people through tax. That's another way of the government making money. Not the government making money, President Barrow making money. And these monies go through President Barrow, through these actors, go through the First Lady. Some of them go through the First Lady, the First Lady accounts and everything else, and the nephews, Amadou Sane and Jaga Sane. I mean, some of them go through those two, and the money that goes for campaign finance goes straight to Mr. Drame. I think he's the treasurer of the NPP anyway. It goes through to Mr. Drame, that's the local government minister, Musa Drame, to sponsor the NPP. And that's why you see these people, around the campaign finance. That's why, look, the managing director of Gampetroleum have said it, investigate. Audit everything and everybody. Why the government not doing it? But it continued here. As I said, GRA, I have to finish this tax cap. This was the reason the Director General of GRA failed to attend the press conference, and the ministers attending misinformed the press on the issue surrounding income tax in the petroleum saga. President Barrow influence is behind the facilitation of this tax evasion too. The entire web of corruption is controlled from State House, including the land ministry. There's no corruption going in that country that the president doesn't have a hand in. Land. And you know, this is controlled through the line ministries. Minister Musa Drame was put in that strategic position because of what? To control the land and control the communities through traditional leaders and others. It's a very influential position for political gains. And you can, once we take out this person, if a competent government comes in and do the investigation, you will see how these people will be involved. The tourism corruption, Ahmad Bah and President Barrow. Financial sector and everything, Mambure Njai. The OIC construction, Bailamin Joe. You see? Agriculture minister and permanent secretaries and all. You see, everything else, interior malpractice, that's it. Justice, that's it. That's how it's run. The government is entirely corrupt, and they are facilitating this web of corruption. And who is and on top of that government and head of the cabinet is the president himself. That's easy to do. Why is it difficult? For people to comprehend? No, people comprehend because of most of us have been fooled by these interest groups pushing this issue about tribe, pushing this issue about region, wa Banjul, ñun wa Baka, ñun wa Basse, ñun Poli, ñun Sose, ñun Olofi, ñun Sereri, ñun whatever it is. That's the problem. We should be not fooled about this. It's about resource looting and our national interest. Everything they're pushing through this. And a lot of gullible people or people that have hate, in fact. Some of them definitely want to subscribe to this. They are not stupid. They want to subscribe to this. Their private business, they are not doing it that way. Go and look at the women they follow. Whether they follow the women because of the tribe they belong to. They follow the women because of what they possess. Be it their physical, be it their intellectual, be it their influence, be it whatever you can find attractive from a woman. Go and look at the men they follow. It's the same thing. Go and look at where they build their houses. Go and look at the people you see, that's the fact. But it's up to us to see, act on these facts. And let us not be coward, to tell the facts or to hold them to account. The country is completely controlled. No wonder the Gampetroleum saga is covered up, and the OIC Hotel versus Nene Federal Gomez saga is mishandled by the police, taking instruction directly from the president. Is it? We all know what is happening with these OIC projects. And finally, I have to finally ask yourself, this is logical, as we said that it does not make sense about this hotel. Okay, we talked about that the guy, Mr. Cham's background, we talked, explain it, not about being a Senegalese. It's not the problem. The problem is he's not a bona fide investor. He is not a good person. He's a corrupt person. He has been enabling corruption. I have taken part in corruption. We have the documents, we have the history. It's out there. Google it. But not only that, the company was new, the company didn't have assets, the company didn't have never, built a house, the company have never done anything. The company assets can be total to $20,000, less than $20,000. And that company, you think, would have the competence to raise 100 million in the middle of a pandemic? $100 million for what? Hospitality, when the entire world hospitality industry is bankrupt. Gambia is talk of something else. When we have, you see, it doesn't make sense. It's not even the right timing to build a hotel. What we could do is to tidy up what we have and make sure we have a strategy to use these things. How many, and what's something sustainable, but not only that. Now look at this. The entire hotel deal is a scam. How can you not even make sure the land to be built on is secure lawfully? They cannot even make sure that the property is grounded. They cannot access that lawfully. Lawfully, for God's sake. It's not difficult. If you really have a case, go to the courts. Look, we cannot say that the courts are fighting against government. This is not political. It's likely that the courts will side with government. Then if the court side with citizens, that's justice. We cannot argue about that. 2, the company mentioned does not have $20,000 in their accounts at the time of signing this contract with Ahmadba. They signed the contract with Ahmadba. Read the interview below. For yourself from the would-be technocrats. You will see that everything stated has fallen flat on the ground. And this is about an article. Go inside the articles about this hotel, these things. What the technocrat from Gambia, the Gambia Tourism Board talked about. Everything came out to be a lie, a failure. And these are the so-called technocrats. So-called technocrats. A lie. They cannot even come out to say that, look, this is not viable. They cannot do that because they want to secure their jobs. This is not right. The due diligence is not sustainable. They won't do that. Projects, so that they can just benefit from it. They can go and sit on conferences, meetings, and whatever it is, projects, and make money. That's all. Every day is just running to build the big house, the big car, the many wives or many husbands, whatever you call them, the side chicks or whatever it is. That's everything they think about, not for the greater good. That's where we are. The technocrats are equally to blame for what we are. They will never resign in their position for doing the right thing. They'll always be sacked but they will never resign. It continues to say, if you read this article, we'll just tell you whatever they said is flat. It didn't come out to be true. And I'll share this too. How long will such a 5-star luxury hotel, which is to house the head of states, take to build? How long? How long would it take to build? They're saying that this project is going to finish 2022, December 2022, about a year. When they sign this contract, they say they're going to start immediately. Nothing. Nothing have been started. The company have not come out to tell Gambians how much it's been raised, resource mobilization. If you know this amount of these projects, what you have to go through to do this, I'm telling you, already, even if you are ready and got the money and everything, even to start to bring the equipment and everything, it will take you months. It's not easy to access this equipment. Some of the equipment have to be shared within the sub-region. You don't have spare equipment lying down because they're expensive. The expertise of engineers, expertise of tradesmen, the expertise on everything else. Do you know how much it takes? The material that you need have to be ferried around the world, not from the sub-region. You think that is possible? Someone commented to say that, oh, this 5-star hotel can be built in 3 months. Probably from cardboard boxes. But even in Gambia, you'll be surprised that you don't have enough cardboard boxes. Especially when all material except sand and water will need to be imported. But not only sand, you see, the gravel, to build the concrete, everything needed to be imported. And this is serious. If not, it will be a laughing matter. The postponed conference is scheduled for 2022. The Gambia Conference Center, much less completed. Took 2 years. Complicated. Took 2 years to build. And the general estimate for a high-end hotel is 3 to 4 years from conception. Look like a scam, sound like a scam, but it's a scam. Now, just simple example, the conference center built by Chinese. You know, Chinese have ways to build things quick. But a proper, I'm talking about a proper. People that were around that know. Go and ask why we have the word Old Atlantic and New Atlantic. When Balfour Beatty came with new technology to try to build a barman because of the need for hotel rooms, Gambia hotel tourism just shoot up. They said they were going to build the Atlantic Hotel. The word Old Atlantic was they built within a short period. Guess what? It crumbled, it cracked, it did everything because of the forced pressurizations and all the techniques they use. They had to rebuild. That's why they say Old Atlantic and New Atlantic. You see, even to solve, do the soil analysis and whatever would take you months to finish. It takes a lot to build these things. But it's a scam. It's a scam. They want to hold on to the land and change of use and other things and change excuses and others, and the government don't care. Remember again, where is the city they were meant to build in Barrow? The minute we attack the city, so-called city in Barrow, did you hear about the city again? The city, Jinak Barrow city? Where is it? They came with a 3D, presentation and everything else. It did not happen. It's not viable. It's not true. What's the Gambian economy? What's the market? Who are we competing with? How many countries are we competing with? We have to be realistic. This is a scam, and everything is because of the government have taken bribes, and that's where we are. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening. Thank you.